Hey. I go for anticlimactic. That's sort of my thing. There you go. Thank you for that welcome. I appreciate that. Puts a lot of pressure on me. Makes me wish I would have thought of something slightly more entertaining. Not sure if anybody told you, but I'm just gonna get up here and talk for a while. Sort of like a lecture. If I could get one more round of applause for Mr. Adrian McNair. He's good. He's good. I like him. I'm glad I had Adrian here. He provides everything that I'm not. Tall, dark, handsome, homosexual, all that. I'm kidding. Adrian's not handsome. Just kidding. The guy's built like a fucking Greek god. That's why I had to wear a tighter shirt. You know, you're like, oh my God. Has he been? No, he hasn't. He hasn't been working out. Not yet, not yet. All right, look, I hate that I have to start the show off this way, but I learned a few things from being on the road. One, it's that everybody has a different sense of humor. Some people can't tell when I'm joking or when I'm being serious, and some people get offended more easily than others. So, and if at any point tonight you're wondering whether I'm joking or whether I'm kidding, this is a comedy show. So I think we can all safely assume that I'm being serious. And it's much funnier that way. Secondly, no matter what I say tonight, please do not get offended. A lot of people will take offense when a particular race, sex, creed, or group is called out simply because they identify with that group. Don't. Instead, take heed in the fact that while it may not be funny to you, it is hilarious to the people around you. And if you feel like you're being singled out for something you can't control, well, yeah, sort of. But hey, we can't all be white, right? I know what some of you are thinking immediately. Oh, look at this guy up there with his white privilege. Thinks he can say whatever he wants about anybody. Well, it just goes to show how much you know about me. Because little did you know, I'm half black. Yeah, my dad was black. And some of you who are here tonight who know me personally are thinking to yourselves, Chris, you can't prove that. You never even met your father. Yeah, that's how I know. Is everybody seeing where this is going? Would anybody like to leave now? If you've never seen my act before, you should know that I live by the rule, some things are better left unsaid. And those things will get said here tonight. Let's get it started. A little bit of getting to know you, shall we? My name's Chris Moran from the San Francisco Bay Area. That being said, I'm for gay marriage, but against butt fucking. I think marriage is a beautiful thing. Everybody should be able to do it. I don't know why you'd want to ruin it with butt fucking. You might be wondering how I know. I'm not gay. I'm Mormon. Just kidding. I'm not Mormon. I'm intelligent. The truth is, I don't know what anal sex is like. Not because I'm against it, because they charge extra for that. I'm frugal. Prostitutes are a lot like cars. The Asian ones are cheaper and can generally take more of a beating before they break down. If you don't like that joke, it's because you're a good person. Congratulations. But you are not going to enjoy the rest of this show. I went on my first national tour in the spring, which a lot of you knew about, supported. I do appreciate that. Notes from the middle of the country, gas prices significantly lower there. And I'm pretty sure it's because when you're there, all you can think about is driving as far away as fucking possible. Oh, there's nothing there. Except for mass shootings. If you want to commit a mass shooting, go to the center. Everyone's slower and dumber there. Why do you think they always happen in small white towns? Because everyone's out of shape. People get shot all the time in black neighborhoods. They never have mass shootings. Because everyone's too fucking fast. As soon as they hear gunshots, gone. Hitting football moves in the street. White lady. Remember the shooting in Colorado in the movie theater last year? White people were so unprepared for that, they thought it was part of the show. Honey, are they doing a live rendition of the movie right here in our theater? Oh, I'm gonna get to meet Bruce Wayne tonight. He didn't get to meet Bruce Wayne. I had a black gentleman come up to me after a show recently. Wasn't a fan of that joke. And he came up to me and he said, you know, when you make jokes like that about black people, all you do is perpetuate stereotypes that we're violent criminal offenders. I understood his point, I did, but I said to him, look, just put the gun down and we can talk about this. The middle of the country. People who live in the middle of the country like to create little silver linings for themselves. Oh, the cost of living here is half of what it is in California. Yeah, you know where else the cost of living is cheap? Afghanistan. And I'd rather live there. A suicide bomb's 10 times more interesting than anything in Wyoming. Put me in Kansas City for 2 more days and I'm so bored I'm ready to put on a vest and blow up a library. Great barbecue though. Oh, great barbecue. We actually, we drove through Nebraska, which is actually a really great place to be if you like nothing. Like, if you hate being in a place with things and colors and activities, go there, because they got none of that going on. We drove through Nebraska. It was a blizzard, 40-mile-an-hour winds, ice all over the road. In 10 hours of driving, we saw 13 accidents. I don't know why anyone would want to live there. I mean, what if you had kids? Think about that. What if you had kids and they're in a snowy place? If I live in a snowy place and I have children, I'm never letting them drive. Think about that. You let your son take the family car out one night, ice all over the road, he gets in a car wreck and dies. His blood is now on your hands. Not to mention your interior. I mean, Resolve's not getting that out. It is good to be back on the West Coast, though. Being on the road for long periods of time is very difficult, namely on a relationship. I do have a girlfriend, and right now there's a few lovely young ladies in the audience who are thinking to yourselves, excuse me, you have a girlfriend? And to you I say, relax, that was just a joke. And right now one lovely young lady is thinking, excuse me, that wasn't a joke. And to you I say, relax, that was just a joke. Look, it's confusing. We'll work that out after the show, it's not important. No, look, the long distance thing, it's tough, I'm not gonna lie to you. But it takes a lot of focus, a lot of commitment. But after having gone through it, I think I can, we figured out the key to happiness when you're doing that sort of thing. And I can share it with you all this evening, save you the trouble. If you do have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or wife, if you have to do the long distance thing, if you want to remain happy, all you have to do is break up. Seriously. A long distance relationship is all of the bad parts and none of the good parts of a relationship. Oh, let's see, what do I get to keep? Reporting where I am, arguing, talking on the phone. Yeah, that's not a girlfriend, that's a parole officer, okay? Meanwhile, none of the good parts. No sex, no companionship, no sex. Probably being overly negative here. Still some good things. You can still cheat on each other. Is your boyfriend here tonight? You can laugh at that joke. He's not here. Don't worry about it. Unless that's him, which that's awkward. He's like 60. No, that's an observation. Best guess, 55. 55. He'll go with 55, which means he's 62. Noted. I don't know what I hate more about social media. I don't do transitions, by the way. Now you know. I don't know what I hate more about social media. The fact that everyone feels the need to report every insignificant moment of their existence, or the fact that I can't seem to get enough of every insignificant moment in your existence. Between Instagram and Facebook, I can kill 3 hours a day easy. And if I have something important to do that day, that time doubles. It brings out the absolute worst aspect of my personality too. Like, I could give a shit less what any of you are doing most of the time. So what I do is spend hours of my day finding out what you're doing via social media and then tearing you down for it. Oh. What's Sarah doing? She's at a cake shop. Fat ass. What's Brad doing here? He's graduating with a master's degree in engineering from Cal Berkeley. Fag. It's ridiculous. It's like an addiction though. Like the other day, a girl I know, she posted an album on Facebook. All it was the album, just her and her boyfriend at the beach, right? 73 photos in the album. I was home by myself, but when I saw it, I said out loud, who the fuck posts 73 photos of a single day at the beach? Then I continued to audibly belittle her as I went through all 73 photos. Half the people I follow, I wouldn't even care if they got into a car accident and were paralyzed from the neck down. I would, however, enjoy Instagram photos of them eating through a straw. Hashtag suck on this, hashtag para-living. God. Should stop being so negative. You know what I don't need in my life, though? Overly optimistic people. Yeah, I don't care whether the glass is half full or half empty so long as it's full of alcohol, okay? You know, I was having a bad day the other day. A buddy of mine comes up to me and says, "Oh, come on, Chris, you gotta cheer up, right? Yeah, gotta be grateful for just for another day. Got the air pumping into your lungs, heart beating in your chest. What's better than that? What's better than me standing here breathing? How about a charter jet to the Bahamas with a Playboy model and a monkey who knows how to play chess? A couple of 8-balls. Maybe Samuel L. Jackson's the pilot of the plane. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Me standing here with a grilled cheese sandwich in my hand is better than me just standing here." What kind of logic is that? I'm supposed to be grateful for another day just because I wake up? What am I, a drug dealer expecting to be murdered in my sleep every night? "Oh, I didn't know you were going to be such a downer." Yeah, I apologize that my lifetime goals are slightly more lofty than just getting up in the morning. It's easy to be happy when you're setting the bar 2 inches off the ground. How is community college treating you, by the way, anyway? Speaking of community college, City College of San Francisco, on the brink of closing, maybe, huh? Has me worried, because I have no idea who's going to make my coffee when all those Starbucks workers have to go find real jobs. Oh no, I know, it's really sad too, because I'm sure that associate's degree in hip-hop dancing was really going to open a lot of doors. If you're going to be in San Francisco, though, if you're going to be alive, though, San Francisco is not a bad place to be. A lot of good stuff happening here, particularly for the gays. You got the DOMA ruling. The Boy Scouts of America have lifted their ban on gay scouts, which I thought was a little late. I was in Boy Scouts as a kid, got made fun of a lot, and I'm pretty sure everything that ever got said had something to do with the Boy Scouts being the gayest thing I could possibly be doing. "Hey, Chris, what are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, I was going camping with the Boy Scouts." "That's gay." "How is that gay?" "I'm just going deep into the woods with a bunch of other really straight guys. We're going to pack into a small tent far away from the city where no one can confirm or deny what we might be doing out there. 2 more weeks and I get my secret spoon badge. I'm going to sew it right here on my sash." Yeah, word of advice next time you're trying to organize a super straight, all-male, heterosexual organization, when you're designing the uniforms, maybe leave off the sash and the handkerchief. Look like a butch lesbian beauty pageant. Historical fact, I am the only person to ever say butch, lesbian, and beauty in the same sentence. Just kidding. Everyone's beautiful in their own way, right? Just not always on the outside. Let's do some somewhat current events. You guys remember the limo fire on the San Mateo Bridge, huh? Sad. I remember I was watching the news coverage about it, and one question kept burning in my mind over and over again, and that was, is 3 months enough time for all of you to get over it to be able to laugh at the jokes I'm about to make? The answer was no. So here goes. If you don't remember the story, there was a bachelorette party, limo going over the San Mateo Bridge. They were coming into the city, and the limo caught fire. Before the driver could pull over, the smoke inhalation had already gotten to the cab there. Only 4 women made out alive. 5 were killed, including the bride-to-be. Very sad. And my mind immediately went to the other side of the scenario, the husband. He was holding his bachelor party in Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, can you imagine that? Here you are. One last night, right? You're out with the guys. Here it is. You're about to get married. Las Vegas, Nevada. All your buddies. One last Saturday night. Here we go, guys. And you get the phone call that your wife-to-be has just passed away. What do you do? What do you say? And you're sure? I know. Thank you. Gentlemen. Order another round. Looks like we're staying through the weekend. Oh, man. Woo! Oh. Goodbye, Abigail. Hello, Lady Luck. Talk about adding a whole new meaning to the term bachelor party. I'm just kidding. Her name wasn't Abigail. I made that up. No, I mean, I can't relate. I can't relate what it'd be like to lose a spouse or a significant other that early. I mean, on top of dealing with all the grief that you weren't prepared to deal with, now you got to answer all these questions. What do we do with the body? What do we do with the things? How do we tell friends and family? Is it too soon to ask the stripper to go to Cancun because the honeymoon's non-refundable? A lot of tough decisions ahead. Daytona 500 had a major crash this year. 12 different cars were involved. A car actually came up onto the fence and sent chunks of debris flying into the crowd, injuring 30 people. NASCAR had about $500,000 worth of loss. You know what was gained? About 200 million new viewers. Because if you were anything like me, your first thought was, wow, finally a NASCAR event worth watching. If NASCAR Association had any sense at all, they wouldn't build a stronger, safer fence. They'd remove the fence altogether. If I had it my way, they'd put seats right on the inside of the racetrack, like courtside seats in the NBA. Tell me you wouldn't turn on your TV on Sundays to see some drunk redneck asshole getting winged by a car going 200 miles an hour. He doesn't care. He was going to lose that limb to diabetes anyway. I had to clean out a turkey recently. Which, if you haven't done it, you shouldn't. Because it's about the most disgusting thing you could ever do. Just reaching your hand in and pulling out guts and slimy shit. I felt like an abortion doctor during a power outage. Which, if that's any indication of what they have to go through, I might just have to change my vote. She can't prove it if she doesn't have my DNA. You'll get that when you go home. The turkey. I'll also say that, I wanted to do it the old-fashioned way. It's a family dinner, stay true to tradition, but I don't recommend that either, because it's damn near impossible to get anything out with a wire hanger. That's enough about why I don't have a brother. The pro-life people should give up the fight. Not because they're wrong, but because abortion will always be legal as long as rich white men run Congress. You know how many politicians have slept with prostitutes and housekeepers? Ugh. Planned Parenthood has helped keep more politicians in office than campaign fundraising. Because only in America will we allow our politicians to enact policies keeping us all bankrupt and sending us to war and we don't want to go, and bailing out the banks and killing thousands of people abroad, but then we all throw a shit fit when they get a hand job in the airport bathroom. USA! USA! We have Foot Locker for men's shoes, we have Lady Foot Locker for women's shoes, and we have Kids Foot Locker for teen moms. Because apparently having a kid doesn't make you any less stupid. Well, let's see, I just had a kid. I'll probably barely make it through high school, let alone college. I'm gonna work a low-income job for the rest of my life, struggling to make ends meet. But I think I'll take what little money I have now, because I still live at home with my parents, and spend it on a $60 pair of basketball shoes for my 3-month-old. Can't wait till that kid turns 18. Sorry, Junior, no money for college, but if you take a look at your baby photos, you will just love the way your little Jordans match your LeBron jersey. Then I have to act like I feel sorry for him when he's getting arrested for breaking into my car 18 years from now. Oh, he grew up in a low-income neighborhood. He never had a chance. Newsflash. You didn't become a criminal because of where you grew up. You became a criminal because of who you grew up with. Your parents are stupid. Sometimes I wish I was black. Not for the street credit. I've got that. Because I've always wanted to have an adjective in front of my first name. Fat Joe. Lil John, Frank Ocean. Did you think his first name was Frank? No, he's Frank. He's very direct and unreserved in his speech. He's a real straight shooter. Well, not a straight shooter. That's why I wasn't surprised when he came out. His first name's Ocean. That's a stripper's name. I didn't even want to do comedy. I always wanted to be a rapper. Just didn't work out. I thought I was off to a good start since I grew up without a dad. The truth is, I can't rap at all. But if you've heard 90% of today's hip-hop, you'd know that that has nothing to do with why I failed. Oh well. I can still hold the microphone at a 90-degree angle to the stage if I want to, right? Comedy to rap wasn't that big of a career shift anyway. I still get to get on stage and say horrible things about women. The only difference between me and most rappers is when I say it, I'm joking. And you might think I'm sticking up for you ladies, but I'm not, because let's not forget, men are only interested in what they think increases the chances of them getting laid. So if you'd like to stop being degraded in rap music, maybe don't spend every weekend listening to it, drinking lots of alcohol, and shaking your ass. Just a thought. I don't have many white friends. White friends like to play pranks on each other. I'm not much of a prankster, and it is a racial thing. Promise you. You want proof? Go watch an episode of Jackass with a couple of black guys. Everybody thinks it's funny, but count how many times the black guys go, fucking white people. No black guy in the history of black guys has ever had to worry about falling asleep drunk at a party and then his friends taking pictures with their dicks in his face. Doesn't happen. I actually lost a friend over a prank. Was a former good friend of mine, Greg. We used to be roommates, and one night when I was sleeping, he switched out all of my boxers for women's thongs. Hilarious, I know. Which still gave me 24 hours to rectify the situation because I hadn't worn the ones I was wearing inside out yet. Shouldn't have done it on a Tuesday, Friday, Greg. Here's the thing, I could take the prank, that's fine, I don't mind that. It's the smugness afterwards. You know, I come downstairs, and he's got that smug look on his face. Oh, how'd you sleep last night? Oh. And all I could think about was just wiping that grin right off his face, so I thought I'd mess with his head a little bit. So what I knew about Greg is that he had a son just about 2 months prior to that. And so I walked up to him, I was like, yeah, man, you got me real good. But I got you even worse. And you didn't even know it. He's like, oh yeah, what'd you do? I said, about a year ago, you know those condoms you keep in your nightstand by your bed? I poked holes in them. And he said, nice try, asshole, but me and my girlfriend planned on having our son. To which I responded, yeah, but I bet you didn't plan on having my son. I felt guilty about that remark. Less guilty after he punched me in the face. More guilty after the DNA test came back. I saw a commercial for dog food recently that says that it helps fight dog breath, which is dumb because no matter how good a dog's breath smells, it still smells like dog breath. I also had a friend tell me that if you get one that was previously abused, that they're easier to train because they're timid and they listen better, which is easily the best relationship advice I've ever gotten. If you're a male and you own a dog whose height only comes up to your ankles, then you're probably a homosexual. And if you're a male and you happen to share that opinion with me, all that means is that we're both insecure about our own sexuality. I learned that on The View. The View. Someone got a little cocky with their articles of speech. The View? It's more like A View. If you've never seen The View before, it's a television show where 5 women sit around, discuss opinions and ideas, and everybody listens to them. There's a male version too, it's called Life. The View. The View from where? The kitchen? Below? The passenger seat? I don't know. Guess you're not driving, you can look around more, huh, ladies? Not sexist, relax. I listen to women. I do. I have a satellite navigation as a woman. Look, no, you might be thinking I know my satellite navigation as a woman because of the sound of its voice. That's not true. The reason I know my satellite navigation is a woman because it's always fucking up directions. Look, see, here's where, divisive, right? This is where, it's always bizarre to me where people, like, judge you for what you're saying on stage, Like those jokes, people are like, oh, you're sexist, Sexist is the weirdest one to me because growing up, I grew up in a household with all women. I was raised by my mother and I have 2 sisters, no male role model. My dad died when I was 9, which is a horrible thing to bring up at a comedy show, unless you've got a punchline for it. And I don't. You guys are assholes. No, I mean, look, growing up without a dad, it is tough. I won't pull any punches there. Not a lot of obvious silver linings. There's a couple upshots in there. One less person resenting you for the rest of your life. One less set of expectations to live up to. And I'm pretty sure that because growing up without a dad does suck, it gives you the right to bring that up, to awkwardly halt conversation at your leisure. Let me give you an example. Watch. My girlfriend comes in the other day, right? Very upset. She looks me right in the eye. She says, Chris, are you cheating on me? So I looked at her and I said, look, maybe if my dad hadn't died when I was 9, I'd have the emotional capacity to understand what it means to be in a long-lasting, loyal relationship. I'm sorry I can't live up to your expectations. To which she responded, yeah, and maybe if your dad hadn't died when you were 9, he could have taught you a thing or two about sex so there wouldn't be 2 dissatisfied women right now. Whatever. That's what love is. I don't care what she thinks about my sexual prowess at this point. I just care that she keeps lying to her friends about how good our sex life is. Rebounding's a lot easier when the ball comes to you, fellas. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm losing my hair, which sucks. A lot of times you can't see the audience. I can see the audience. Just a heads up. I don't really have any good jokes about losing my hair, but it seems like a good place to vent since you're all paying attention. This might sound weird, but I'm atheist. And if there were one thing that could get me to switch over and believe in religion, it would be that. Because I don't see the evolutionary advantage of me losing the hair on my head and growing it on my back. And there's no point in shaving it, because then I just get shaving irritation and my back looks like the surface of Mars. So basically I get to choose between Darwin's missing link or back knee. It's not even like a casual amount of back hair. Like, my back gets dandruff. Look, I don't talk about religion too much on stage just because it tends to be kind of divisive, and I don't care what people's religious opinions are, but you know, something that confused me about religion for a long time was the fact that the people in the poorest parts of the world believe in God or religion the most, only because it feels like the people with the least to be thankful for are the most thankful to God. And on my trip across the country, you know, I sort of figured this out, and it all made sense because we were driving through Mississippi, and we stopped in a small town for gas, and there was nothing around for miles except a gas station and a church, and it hit me. Because if I grew up in a town where I lived in a trailer and the hottest girl in town was my Aunt Darla, I'd probably be praying for an apocalypse too. These people don't need church, they just need something to do. Ew? I'm not following you. Are you following me? Is it because I'm sweating a lot? Is that too close? Just try sitting a little further back, like maybe just beyond those doors out there. I didn't mean that. Don't unfriend me on Facebook, okay? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Probably my least favorite argument against being atheist is that if you don't believe in God or religion, then what is your incentive to be a good person? Look, my incentive to be a good person is that I want to be surrounded by good people. Not that complicated. Treat people how you want to be treated. I don't want to die, so I don't murder anybody. I wouldn't want my stuff stolen, so I don't steal anything. I wouldn't want my girlfriend to cheat on me, so I don't let her see my text messages. Look, there's a gray area. There's a gray area. The point is that I don't need God in my life. Sorry. Kevin Ware, for those of you who aren't familiar, was a player for the Louisville College basketball team that won the championship game this year. In the quarterfinal match, he broke his leg. Gruesome video on YouTube for those of you who are interested in videos of people's dreams being shattered. I digress. When asked how he was feeling about the leg a couple weeks later, he said that he was okay with it because he knew it was all in God's plan. Oh, that's right, because God has a Final Four bracket. Talk about a horrible person to be in an office pool with. Hey, Jesus, who you got for Clippers Kings this weekend? I think I'll take the Kings. Really? You better pray for a miracle, pal. I don't think I'll have to. Manny Pacquiao believes in God, huh, Filipino people? Yeah. Manny Pacquiao, professional boxer who retired and now is a congressman for the Philippines. What an amazing transition. I mean, we all think of athletes as being like dumb jocks and incapable of doing anything besides sports, but here's a guy who not only played a sport, but one where he got repeatedly beaten in the head, and not only managed to come out of it all right, but now serves his country in the highest capacity. And it's nothing to turn your cheek at either, because from what I understand, to be a congressman in the Philippines requires of it the same responsibility as it does in the United States to be president of your 5th grade class. What are you working on over there, man? Any prostitution laws? I'm kidding. I don't know much about the Philippines. I know they manufacture. I ordered a dishwasher once from there and it got sent. It worked well, great, thanks. She doesn't eat much either, too, so that's good. I used to date a Filipino girl, and she was not fond of that particular line of jokes. And she said to me once after a show, she said, "You know, you're racist, Chris. Why don't you make more jokes about white people?" To which I responded, "Aren't your kind supposed to be subservient? If I wanted to hear an irrelevant opinion all the time, I'd be dating a white woman." How many cousins do you have waiting for work visas again? 36? Yeah, call me the golden ticket, and let's keep those opinions on the inside, shall we? An article was printed recently that said that worldwide, obesity has now become a larger problem than starvation and famine. Do we need any more proof that we're the shittiest group of humans to ever exist? Can we just let people start dying now? You know, people always want to blame the fast food companies too. The fast food companies have tried to help us. You go to McDonald's and what do? They have it divided up into meals for you. You know why? Because that's how much food one person should be eating. But what do? Can I get the number one? And instead of fries, could I get curly fries? And instead of a Coke, could I get a milkshake? And instead of a cheeseburger, could you just give me diabetes? Is that an option? Preferably with like mayonnaise and pickles. You know, millions of years of evolution had the whole natural selection thing worked out pretty well. I'm just saying there's a reason the T-Rex is extinct. Baby arms? You're supposed to be the most ferocious creature of your era and you have baby arms? No. Nature realized that was gay and they got rid of it. If we weren't always getting in the way with our moral authority, we wouldn't have to be reading about how Lindsay Lohan was going into rehab for the 6th time because she'd be dead already. I was in a bowling alley the other day and there was a sign on the ball return that said, "Please do not stick hand or head inside the ball return." People intelligent enough to know not to stick their head inside of a ball return don't need the label. And people dumb enough that don't know not to stick their head inside of a ball return can't read. The next time you're at a bowling alley, if someone sticks their head inside of a bowling ball return, pray that a bowling ball comes and crushes their skull, because they are going to get you hurt. And if they don't die, take them out back and beat them to death with bowling pins in the bowling alley. I would love for somebody to explain to me why calling someone fat is an insult too. It's not an insult, it's an observation. Look, if you're tall, you're tall. If you're short, you're short. And if you're fat, you're fat. If I don't call you fat, it doesn't make you any less fat. You can't hide the fact that you're fat. Hey, Jim, do you know Sheila's fat? No kidding, I just thought she was pregnant all the goddamn time. Seriously? Yeah, I figured her for kind of a whore. All right. It's not like being called ugly. Ugly's subjective. Some people would date Adele. I wouldn't. Have you seen her without makeup? Oh, talk about a transformation. Look, I don't know who does Adele's makeup every morning, but I assume it's the same team of people it requires to do the entire Walking Dead cast. Look, Adele aside, you can't control whether you're ugly or not, but you can control whether you're fat. I'm helping you anyway. I call you fat, you get mad, you get up, you walk away. Look at you, you're burning calories. I do appreciate that being fat is one of the few things in life that you can get rewarded for just not doing anymore. Like, I've weighed the same since high school. No one ever comments on my weight. But if I were somehow to put on 300 pounds and then take that 300 pounds off, I become a success story. Why? Because it took so much hard work and determination to get the weight off. You know what else is really hard to get through? A 25-year prison sentence. But if you stab someone to death, that's the consequence. Being fat is a consequence of drinking cake-flavored smoothies. I mean, look at Jared from Subway. Here's a guy, he got a TV deal, he's in commercials, he got a book deal, famous, everybody knows who he is, lots of money. You wanna know what his success story was? Two steps. Step 1. He was a giant piece of shit for most of his life. Step 2. He stopped being a giant piece of shit. That's it, that's all he did. What an inspiration. USA, USA. I had an epiphany And that's that the only difference between a guy who's considered really creepy by a girl and a guy who's considered really romantic is just whether or not the girl likes him back. That's not fair. Like, I could commit the same gesture, right? I could send a girl some flowers. She likes me. She's gonna Instagram it, right? Hashtags on there, say sweet boy, future BF, secret admirer. If she doesn't like me, she's still gonna Instagram it, but the hashtags will look much different. Freak, hashtag stalker, hashtag psycho. Makes dating hard, ladies. But you know what? Just having the epiphany, it made me feel sort of good, you know, just sort of when you come into an understanding about something. And it was timely too, because usually it's really hard to feel good about yourself when you're reading a restraining order. And look, let me explain. I'll tell you what I did. I sent this girl a love letter, right? And in the love letter, I enclosed just the tiniest lock of hair, right? People do that, that's a thing. It's been done before, I'm not the first. And then she freaks out, goes to the police and says that there's a big difference between the hair on my head and pubic hair. Which, I have a receding hairline, I'm not just giving this stuff away. We hadn't even met. I had a stalker once. It's kind of weird. I had a one-night stand with a girl. We exchanged numbers, but I thought it was evident that nothing was ever going to become of it. And she starts calling me a lot. And it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I mean, this went on for a long time. I'm talking like a year. She found out where I worked, found out where I lived. She's calling me at all hours of the night. And eventually, a year in, it gets to the point, right, where she has her friends participating because I got her number blocked. I had one of her friends call me and claim that she was an attorney and that I had to show up for a child support hearing. I'm not stupid. Guess not everybody's paid their child support on time here tonight. Okay. I think of this... Thank you. You know, I think of the stage as kind of a place I can share, and so I want to share a little story with you guys that's true. About a year ago, a little more now, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. It was my fault. I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, and we ended things after a 2-year relationship, and just a couple months afterwards, I found out she was dating someone, which she had every right to do. You know, I wasn't upset about that, but then just a couple months ago, I found out that she was pregnant. Now, you know, it was a little bit weird just because, you know, this was a girl who I made a lot of future plans with. You know, marriage, kids, etc. And she did call me personally to tell me about it, and we were on the phone, and she just said, you know, I just thought you should know, I wanted you to hear from me. But then to throw in one last little jab, she says to me, you know, Chris, I don't know how this is going to make you feel, but I just want you to know that this could have been you. This could have been us. And I just hung up the phone right there. I didn't know what to say. And for the next few days, I was just raw with emotion. I had all these... You know, I just didn't know what to think. You know, how did I feel? You know, here was my ex-girlfriend having a baby with somebody else. And I had so many words running through my head, and all of them were synonyms to fucking relieved. Oh. Woo! No, that would have worked out perfect, because I didn't have any plans tonight or for the next 18 years worth of nights. I felt like that scene in The Matrix where Neo's just narrowly watching the bullets fly by. Oh. No, look. I am at that age now where people I know, people I grew up with are starting to have children. The ones without goals anyway, and... No, here's the deal. I want to have kids, I do. I want to have a lot of kids. But I just don't feel like I'm at that age, at this point in my life, where I'm ready to bring another one into it. And my girlfriend, she is ready, and she expressed this to me the other day. She said, you know, Chris, I'm just worried that by the time you're emotionally ready to have kids, that I might not be physically willing or able to, and that you'll leave me for a younger woman. Which made me feel horrible, because it was supposed to be a surprise. Speaking of unwanted children, do you think handicapped people get into heaven? Or is God too self-conscious to have a constant reminder of his mistakes walking around up there with him? I'm just saying maybe there's a reason it's called the stairway to heaven. If you can't get up, you can't get in. That's what she said. I had a guy actually try to debate that with me after a show once. That he said that That argument didn't hold any water, because when you die, God heals you of all your misfortunes and afflictions, which I should start by saying is a horrible thing to try to argue with an atheist. But if that is true, do you think anyone's ever a little bitter about that? Guy spends his whole life in a wheelchair, gets up to heaven, and God's like, well, you can walk. Why is that? I healed you. So you can do that, huh? Yeah, you know, all-knowing, all-powerful. Oh, something the matter? It's better late than never, I guess. Excuse me? No, fuck that. I spent 80 years in a wheelchair. You better get started on some wheelchair ramps and lifts around here, because I'm staying in this chair, prick. You have a civil suit on your hands. I personally would be really excited at the notion of everybody being healed of all their misfortunes and afflictions when you get up to heaven. Can you imagine that? You get up there, you get to meet a sober Whitney Houston, a straight Richard Simmons, a male Rosie O'Donnell, right? No, someone screwed that up. How about this set, by the way? It's pretty epic, right? I was gonna do jokes about it, but I don't have any. So. Is everyone excited for football season, San Francisco? Can we all just agree that the preseason is retarded, though? It's no point. No, you know what? Let's talk Niners. How about that Colin Kaepernick, huh? Quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. A year ago, nobody knew who he was, and now here he is on the cover of all the magazines, leading them to the Super Bowl. Did you guys know he was adopted? Next time you're going to buy a lottery ticket, go have Kaepernick's parents buy it for you, because those two are the luckiest people alive. This wasn't like that movie, The Blind Side, with Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock already knew two things about her kid, that he was huge and black. Anybody who's seen 10 minutes of an NFL game wouldn't have had to circle the block twice to know that that guy was going to be really good at football or burglarize their home. This wasn't like that, though. Kaepernick's parents adopted him when he was a baby. They took a chance on a garbage pail kid and ended up with a retirement plan. Charles Schwab wouldn't have called that investment. I swear, guys. Rape is a really difficult thing to write jokes about. I am not good at it. The argument against it, is, if you haven't been through that experience, then you can't relate to it. You can't understand. That's a dumb argument. You know what? I've never ridden the public bus through East Oakland, but I can imagine how I would feel. Uncomfortable. I'd probably sit very close to the driver. I'd have earphones in, which wouldn't actually be plugged into anything that could get stolen. Well, if you're making jokes about it, then clearly you've never met anyone who's been through that horrific experience. Sure I have. Did I ask him about it? No. Seems a little imprudent. Hey, how was that rape, by the way? No, I mean, I do know a couple women who were raped, and I didn't ask them about it. That sounds horrible, because how many of you ladies out there like it when right after a guy finishes, he asks you how it was? We'll cut that one out, Pat. Don't worry about it. A friend of mine's dying of cancer. That's not funny. Told him he had 6 months to live. That's not funny either. You know what he told me? He said, Chris, I'm going skydiving. Rocky Mountain climbing. 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. There you go. That's for my Tim McGraw fans out there. You know what I said? Boring. Ugh. Americans lack creativity. Anytime you tell one of us we have 6 months to live, we come up with the same dumb ideas. Oh, I'm going skydiving. I'm going bungee jumping. Other cultures, way more creative. We got to travel. We got to get out there, find out about people. For instance, in the Arabic culture, when they know that they're about to die, they take a building with them. Thank you. I don't fight. So my number one fear when I go out with any girl is that she's going to get into some sort of altercation with a guy and that I'm going to have to stick up for her. And I know what some of you are thinking, but Chris, you're pretty big compared to most Asians. But I'm just not one of those macho guys. Like, I can only take arguments with complete strangers as far as the point where they say something like, you got a fucking problem, bro? Following that remark, I usually have to start working around the argument, saying things like, you know, it's not even worth it, man, as I slowly backpedal away. I was out with a girl the other night, and it was late, and we were standing in line, and a guy made a pass at her, and she brushed him off, and then he called her a twat. She immediately turns to me and says, "Aren't you going to defend my honor?" Your honor? It's 3 a.m. and we're at 7-Eleven buying taquitos and Pop-Tarts. There's a Golden Girls marathon on in 10 minutes. We've got to go. Quite frankly, after that question, I'm sort of inclined to agree with him. And then she says to me, "You're just scared you're going to get your ass kicked all over this 7-Eleven, pussy." Now look, guys, I think that every man should be as chivalrous and respectful as possible. But there comes a point in every man's life when he knows he has to set a woman straight. So I turned to her, I raised my hand, and I said, "Look, maybe if my dad hadn't died when I was 9. All right, thanks, guys. I got to get out of here.